If you ever feel out of control around food, you're not alone, and you're in the right place to learn practical, no-nonsense information about why you binge and how to stop. Binge eating does not mean that something is wrong with you. It's a natural but primitive brain response that you can correct. If you're ready for change, sign up for the Brain Over Binge self-paced online course for less than $20 per month. And if you feel you need personalized support, we also offer one-on-one coaching and group coaching. To learn more, go to brainoverbinge.com/subscribe. And I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to the Brain Over Binge podcast, where you learn a simple, brain-based approach to ending binge eating. I'm looking forward to having another conversation with the new Brain Over Binge coach, Julie Mann. This is part 2 of our conversation about getting your life back after recovery and the amazing benefits that you'll experience. If you have not listened to part 1 yet, I encourage you to do that because you'll learn more about Julie and get a background for this show. Julie and I are talking about how much we love recovery and why we know you'll love it too. And in the previous episode, we talked about this in terms of your time and your mind and body. In this episode, you'll hear about how recovery can improve your life in terms of relationships and money. Julie, thank you so much for coming back on the show today.
Hi, Kathryn. I'm so happy to be back.
Yes, I'm happy to have you back. We're now going to discuss relationships, and then we'll talk about money. So in terms of relationships, this can be anything from marriages to other romantic relationships to family and friends to coworkers or just people you randomly meet. Why don't you go first, Julie, and tell me how recovery has changed the relationships and the connections in your life for the better?
Kathryn, this is quite a major topic for me. My eating disorder blocked me from true intimacy in so many ways because there was always this shameful part of me that I had to manage and keep hidden. I could never show people my true self. I think for today's show, I want to focus my answers on how recovery impacted my relationships with my daughter, my family, and my friends. I mentioned in our first podcast how I'd cancel vacations, trips, dinners, special events out of fear of binging. I spent years alone during holidays while my family would celebrate together. I let my daughter create memories with her grandparents and cousins while I stayed home alone. I missed time traveling with my daughter and friends and family. I missed opportunities to see my best friend, time with my aging parents who are both in their 80s, and countless others. I also remember so many times when my daughter would plead with me not to binge. She even duct taped the freezer to stop me because she knew how awful I'd be for days. It's just so upsetting to even say this out loud, but I share it because there is a light at the end of this. And for those listening who can relate, I want to give you all hope. In recovery today, I am my authentic self, flaws and all. I show up, I am present, I am there for what matters. And the most important part of this is that I have reconnected with my daughter in ways I couldn't have imagined. We just had the best Mother's Day ever, and she gave me a card in which she said, "I'm so grateful we've become so close. You made what could have been the worst year of my life, as in COVID while in high school, the best." Words cannot describe how happy I am that I can tell you everything.
That's amazing. And I just think it's so great how you had a wonderful Mother's Day with her. And that's just so meaningful for her to write that. And I think that just proves that you were able to manage everything in your life, like even the hard stuff, without the eating disorder getting in the way. So I want to continue this discussion about relationships and how binge eating affects them by saying that binging and the issues with food and weight really kind of affected every relationship in my life. Like I can remember when I was bulimic, always analyzing what everyone else was eating and comparing it to my own eating and wondering if others had gained weight or lost weight. And all of that just really got in the way of any sort of authentic connection with people. The relationship I think it most affected during this time was the one I had with my sister. And I really had a very difficult relationship with her when I had an eating disorder. Now, she was, and she still is actually, a successful endurance athlete, and she's in peak physical condition. And when I was stuffing myself with thousands and thousands of calories at a time and gaining so much weight, it was really distressing for me to be around her. It honestly made me feel awful about myself. Now looking back, I can see that in reality, it was not her actions, but it was my own thoughts about what her actions meant about me and my eating and my weight. Every time I was around her, my thoughts made me feel like an absolute failure in every way. And that's not even an exaggeration. I got to the point where I did not even like being around her at all. Now, fast forward to today, and nothing has really changed in the way that she lives her life or in the way that she eats or trains. And she's very healthy, by the way. It's just something she loves. But I'm completely different after letting go of the binging and my own food issues. Recovery has allowed me to develop confidence in who I am and be totally okay with the fact that I personally don't want to be an endurance athlete and I would not be very good at it. And it does not mean I'm a failure in any way. My sister and I have an amazing relationship, and we actually now live pretty close to each other, and our kids are a big part of each other's lives, and I even go jogging with her on her easy training days. Now, I want to mention something else briefly regarding relationships before we move on that I probably could do a whole show about, and that is that the benefits of recovery in terms of relationships can also include developing enough awareness to know when a relationship is not healthy for you, and also enough courage to actually end those relationships. Many people with eating disorders tend to have low self-esteem, and they may not think they deserve better than an unhealthy relationship that they're in, or they may get involved in a relationship for the wrong reasons during a dark time in their life. When you let go of binge eating, it's possible for you to see that maybe you've outgrown certain relationships, and as painful as that can be, it can allow you to open up to learning who you truly want in your life. I know this has been a part of my own story, and Julie, maybe one day we can do a whole show about relationships and also about dating too, as both of us have kind of experienced dating again on a similar timeline, which was an adventure for sure. But without the eating disorder, it is possible to be open to connections and also even open to rejection and heartbreak without worrying that it will lead to binging.
Kathryn, yes, I think we need a whole show around recovery and relationships
Yes.
and dating for sure. I'll just say that recovery has enabled me to truly let love into my life in a healthy way, probably for the first time. I let myself be bullied for the majority of my life because I felt somehow that was what I deserved. In being fully recovered, I have learned that my self-worth comes from within. And from that place, I am able to feel love from myself as well as my partner without any expectations of getting validation or from being in a certain sized body.
Yeah, thanks for adding that part about self-worth. I think that maybe the relationship that is affected most powerfully through recovery is the one that you have with yourself. And then that in turn affects all of your other relationships. The next topic of today's show is money. When you think about the benefits of recovery in terms of money, I think it's important to consider more than just what you're saving from not buying binge foods. It's true that food is expensive and your binges are expensive, and you certainly need and want to be spending that money elsewhere. So yes, saving the money you spend on the binge eating itself is a huge benefit. But there's another layer to this, and that's your potential to earn much more money as a binge-free person. So Julie, can you speak to this a bit as far as in your own life, how stopping binge eating has not only saved you money, but has created more opportunities for you as far as your career and your finances?
Kathryn, I love this topic. I'm so excited to talk about this because being free of binge eating has truly shifted the trajectory of my finances. I spent the majority of my life in scarcity. There was never enough money for anything. I had this story on repeat that I couldn't afford X, rent, groceries, utilities, trips, support to recover, you name it. And yet on the flip side, I was binging on food to the tune of hundreds and hundreds of dollars per week. I needed help just to make ends meet way into my 40s. Again, somehow I wasn't seeing that while I was getting help to make rent, I was binging on hundreds of dollars of food. Not to mention the hundreds of dollars of food I was throwing out because I would swear I'll never do it again and I would never eat any of it. On top of this, I was always seeking the cure. And I say that in quotes, in air quotes. So I'd buy books, programs, and anything I could find to recover. I'm sure I spent tens of thousands of dollars on this. Once I recovered fully, all of this lost money was back in my life. What's even more amazing is that I was able to take on more and more work because I had my energy back and my brain back to become truly financially independent. I am now free of any support financially, and I have boundless energy to work as much as I choose. In fact, I decided to take on a whole new career. What's more, that scarcity mentality has completely faded away. I see that I always have more than enough, and that it's always up to me how I choose to spend my resources and the value I create with my time and energy.
I love that last line, the value you create with your time and energy. And I love that you have all of that time and energy back. And anyone who's listening will also get that back when you recover. And then you'll be in a great position to create value. And I think it's the opposite when you have an eating disorder. Like I can remember being at my first few jobs out of college and just having days where I felt so sluggish from all the binging and like I got absolutely nothing done. I wasn't friendly to anyone and I was just trying to get through the day. On those days, I knew that I was not the kind of person that would get promoted or who would be able to handle more responsibilities at work or who would be able to go after an exciting job opportunity. Even while I was in college, I couldn't really see past my current problems with food to think about what I wanted to do for a career. So recovery not only helps you be the kind of person who can create value, it also helps you have the mental clarity to decide how and where you want to create that value. It's so much easier to choose what you want to pursue as far as your career or your financial goals, and much easier to actually pursue those goals. You can just do that much more effectively as a binge-free person. So that wraps up our talk about how recovery benefits you in terms of relationships and money. And before we close, we want to tell you a little more about the summer support group that we talked about in the last show, which begins on June 7th. If you're someone who feels you need personal support, we know that we can help you. Sometimes it takes someone else who's been there to listen and help you uncover where you're personally getting stuck, to help you chart your own unique path to freedom. Just having someone to hear your specific concerns and help you figure out how to solve them, it feels amazing because you feel understood and you feel supported. And especially because we've both been there, we've both experienced this, and we've experienced the pain of binge eating, and we've both overcome it. This is about you and what you need. Just like how you eat is going to be an individual choice, as you know if you listen to this podcast, so is deciding what sort of help you need. So many people have recovered with a book or a podcast or an online course. But if you need more, we're here to help you. Life coaching provides another level of support. When I was creating the Brain Over Binge course, which you'll get access to, you'll get no expiration access if you join group coaching. When I created this course, I was never looking to replace any form of coaching, and I knew that I'd want to return to it one day because it is such a powerful form of help. Now that the course is done and available and some things in my life have shifted to give me a little more time, I'm so excited to get back to group coaching, and I'm so excited to have Julie's help. We hope after listening to today's show and the previous show, you see that there's so much value in recovery, and we hope you can make this group happen for yourself this summer. And let this be the time that you let go of binge eating for good. Julie, can you give some final words about the support group before we end the show today?
Kathryn, I'd be happy to. As I mentioned in our last episode, I cannot wait for us to offer this program. I know it's the kind of support I would have needed when I was trying to recover, and I cannot wait to provide it to anyone out there ready for true transformation and true freedom. Getting coaching will change your life. My recovery is a testament to the coaching I received, and I will continue to receive for the rest of my life. It's my non-negotiable brain hygiene. I take care of my teeth and I take care of my brain. And as I mentioned last time, I know total freedom is not only possible for you, I will see you as already there. I always think about clients as they are in the future, as if they are already that person now. I also believe so fully in their own recovery before they can. And I tell them to borrow my belief until their own kicks in fully. I'll help them celebrate their transformations, which I believe is so critical in recovery. I look forward to supporting group members, helping them to see how their thinking is the only thing in their way and how to shift their thinking to make new space for new actions and new results. One shift in thought can change your entire life. We will all learn from each other's questions, and we will see that we aren't alone. No one is broken or incapable of a full recovery at any age, and at any stage of the journey. And I can't wait for us to begin and help others step into this freedom.
Yeah, I'm really excited too, and I appreciate you adding that. And we hope that you will consider joining us this summer. You can learn more in the show description or by going to brainoverbinge.com/group. Thank you so much for listening to this conversation. We hope it helps you look forward to recovery. As we end today, I want to encourage you and remind you that you have the power to change your brain and live a binge-free life. The Brain Over Binge podcast is produced and recorded by Brain Over Binge Recovery Coaching, LLC. All work is copyrighted by Brain Over Binge Recovery Coaching, LLC, and all rights are reserved. As a disclaimer, the hosts of the Brain Over Binge podcast are not professional counselors or licensed healthcare providers, and this podcast is not a substitute for medical advice or any form of professional therapy. Eating disorders can have serious health consequences, and you are strongly advised to seek medical attention for matters relating to your health. Please get help when you need it, and good luck on your journey. Need more help? You can find all of our current and upcoming options for support at brainoverbinge.com.